And now, from 12 Studios, this is News 12 Now.
Today is Tuesday, October 15th. Welcome to News 12 Now. I'm Kylee Dedmon. Well, we have an update from the story that we've been following all week long. Texan Suzanne Simpson is still missing. The search for her has entered its second week. She's a San Antonio mother who was last seen near her home on October 6th. Her husband, Brad Simpson, is accused of assaulting her before she went missing. Crews are searching landfill in southeast Bexar County. As of now, they no longer expect to find her, but her body. This week, Texas plans to execute Robert Robertson. His attorneys say he was wrongfully convicted of murdering his 2-year-old daughter more than 2 decades ago. They also say Robertson would be the first person in the U.S. executed on a shaken baby syndrome-based conviction. The shaken baby syndrome diagnosis is under increasing legal scrutiny. Robertson's advocates contend his daughter, Nikki Curtis, died of double pneumonia that progressed to sepsis. They say her illness was made worse by a combination of medicines now seen as unsuitable for children.
How credible the threat was, but a second.
And FEMA's administrator says federal disaster workers have resumed hurricane-related door-to-door visits in North Carolina after a temporary suspension due to reports of threats over the weekend. Reports emerged that Federal Emergency Management Agency employees could be targeted by militia. Today, the government continued to urge people to stop spreading rumors and falsehoods about recovery efforts. Well, turning to local weather here, meteorologist Brian Briggs is joining us. Brian, what could we be expecting for our Tuesday forecast?
Well, we're already warming up pretty quickly after somewhat of a chilly morning, but the chilliest weather of the week yet to come here as we anxiously await the arrival of what I'd say is going to be the healthiest cold front we've seen so far this fall season. So with that being said, temperatures already warming into the 70s and 80s this afternoon. Right on track, but look, that cold air not too far away. You can see just off towards our immediate north and east, starting to pick up the pace here, and I believe winds are now starting to move to out of the north and east. Now we're just waiting on the chillier air that's kind of lagging behind. So that being said, especially if you're south of the Red River, you could be getting close to that 90-degree mark. Rest of us stay in the 80s, and then temperatures plummet with those northeasterly winds becoming pretty harsh this afternoon and evening. So that will promote some pretty high to extreme fire danger, especially this afternoon and evening, maybe briefly overnight as well, just because it's going to be so dry and so windy. And also our vegetation is extremely dry. So it could also bring the first frost for some, not only tonight into tomorrow, but also maybe for Wednesday night into Thursday. So we're going to break it all down, the full forecast here in a minute. Until then, back to you, Kylee.
All right, thank you, Brian. A Texas man is accused of killing his wife, a mother of 2 who was 9 weeks pregnant when she was killed. Micah Hatfield has more.
From the outside, a festive home on Alston Street. A picturesque display of pumpkins and spiderwebs, ready for Halloween. But the horror laid inside the quaint Heights home.
It is alleged that the defendant took the life of his pregnant wife.
Police say 38-year-old Lee Gilley strangled his wife Krista to death last Monday night, but reported it to police as a suicide attempt. Court records show Lee said she overdosed, but later admitted that they had been in a fight earlier that night, and she neither was suicidal nor a drug user. Lee, now charged with capital murder, is listed as the founder of a company called DocMo, a software consulting company. His wife had her doctorate of physical therapy and worked at Memorial Hermann with cardiovascular and pulmonary patients. She was set to speak at the American Physical Therapy Association's conference in February. Her family issuing a statement today saying, quote, Krista was an amazing mother, full of love and excited to welcome her 3rd child. They were taken from this world needlessly and way too early. Going on to say they hope for justice for their daughter and her unborn child. Lee is being held in jail without bond for now. He was arrested and charged Friday. The DA's office has filed to hold him without bond until he's indicted. He'll be back before a judge on Thursday to further discuss his bond.
That was Micah Hatfield reporting. When Lee Gilley returns to court on Thursday, a judge will also decide whether he can contact the couple's children. Well, an investigation is underway after a body was found in Durant yesterday morning. The body was found just over a barbed wire fence near a utility tower on the property of the Southeastern Electric Co-op. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations confirmed they are assisting the Bryan County Sheriff's Office with a suspicious death investigation. The electric co-op says the person who died was not an employee or anyone who was supposed to be there. The cause of death is not clear or how long the body had been there. We will continue to follow this story and update you when we learn more. The Ardmore Police Department unveiled a new technology designed to help deter and fight crime in the city. Several flock safety license plate readers have been installed throughout the city to assist police in locating and identifying suspicious or wanted vehicles linked to crimes. Ardmore Police Captain Claude Henry says the tool can help officers get a lead on a crime and has already helped find a missing person in a silver alert.
They were driving around lost in our city. The LPR scanned its license plate, and we were able to find them, identify them, and get them back to their family.
Captain Henry says a plan to add gunshot detectors is in the works in the coming weeks. And taking a look at our national news now, Boeing is turning to major banks and Wall Street to raise tens of billions of dollars in cash. In a regulatory filing, the company announced plans to borrow $10 billion from numerous banks. It also separately announced plans to raise $25 billion by selling stock and debt last week. Boeing's new CEO announced plans to cut 10% of its worldwide staff of 171,000 workers. The move comes as the company contends with massive financial losses from a crippling strike and years of operational and safety problems. The Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina announces he's suing CNN. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robertson announced a lawsuit this morning. He's suing CNN for reporting that he made racist and sexually explicit posts on a pornographic website more than a decade ago. His attorney, Jesse Albina, spoke to the press about the lawsuit.
Lieutenant Governor Robertson has always said these allegations are completely false. Our investigation has shown that he is quite frankly right about that what CNN did and what others that they have worked with have done in this case is tantamount to what we truly believe is this journalistic hit job in order to interfere with an election.
There's been no response from CNN. Robinson is the Republican nominee for governor in North Carolina. Republicans are on a fence in the race to control the Senate in 2025 and beyond. More than 2/3 of the seats up for election on November 5th are currently held by Democrats. KXII's Washington News Bureau correspondent Brendan Collerton breaks down the factors shaping the race.
The Cook Political Report says this is the most favorable election map Senate Republicans have seen in decades, and it would likely take Democrats pitching a perfect game to hold on to control of the chamber. With 23 members up for re-election compared to just 11 for Republicans, the Cook Political Report says Democrats face an uphill battle on maintaining an edge in the Senate.
Democrats have no room for error. Not only do they have to re-elect every single Democratic incumbent, but Kamala Harris also has to win the presidency so that Tim Walz would be the tie-breaking vote in a 50-50 Senate.
Making things more difficult for Democrats, most of the Republican seats up for election are in solid red areas, while Democrats must defend seats in toss-up states or even states that have become increasingly red.
These are senators that won in 2006 when Democrats flipped the Senate in a backlash to President George W. Bush. They were reelected in 2012 when President Obama cruised to re-election, and then they won in 2018 when Democrats had a successful midterm in a backlash to President Trump.
Forecasts show particularly difficult races for John Tester of Montana and Sherrod Brown of Ohio, two states that have become significantly more Republican since the early 2000s.
In a presidential year when we are far more polarized as a country, and these states are, than they were when they were elected, almost 20 years ago, that just is where I find it hard to find a path to survival.
Republicans underperformed during the last election cycle, which Minority Leader Mitch McConnell blamed on bad individual candidates. But the GOP is widely believed to have a better crop this time around.
Overall, they have done a better job, particularly in a place like Montana, in a place like Pennsylvania.
Despite the GOP advantages, Cook predicts a close contest, believing Republicans will likely hold 51 to 53 seats in the next session of Congress. In Washington, I'm Brendan Cullerton.
Thank you for watching today's News 12 Now. Make sure to subscribe so you find out why Texoma turns to us. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where you'll see more social media exclusive content. Want more News 12 Now? Watch us live every weekday through the KXII app on your phone or TV and through our website.